language industry professionals and the technology that is out there and really taking over our minds and thoughts and the media. So in the language industry, working in the language industry, and that I've joined like 7 years ago, it is really interesting to see that normally I don't get really hooked up news and information from mainstream newspapers about our industry, about translation and localization. But in the last few years, that really dramatically changed a lot. So wherever I go to mainstream media portals, especially in the business section, there are news drops, information, announcements that I really feel that is really closely related to me, to our industry, to what we do and what we are planning to work with. There is no secret behind this. It is large language models, AI as we call them today, are really seemingly eating into the jobs, the employment in the white-collar jobs. It is shocking for many, and there are tens of thousands of people, maybe even in the thousands of people in the last year, where people were really had to leave their job all across the globe, mostly in tech companies, but in other industries as well. It is the flip side of the coin is that not everyone is sad about it, and certainly there are people who really see it as a era of great opportunities, for great potential for further economic gains, efficiency, greater margins. Certainly, the market is really pushing and really see benefit in the potential that AI offers, and there is a pressure on every company, from the investors to the board, to the managers, to start working with AI. But some time has already passed, so we are after the first shocks, and what we see today is that many of these news that were shocking for us and keeps on annoying and gives us a bad feeling, worrying about professional jobs. So there are many factors behind these layoffs. It is clear that AI has a great potential, but when we are checking the actual data and gathering deeper insights about what happened with these layoffs, AI and the potentials it can bring to efficiency is just part of the reasons. The significant part of the motivation behind these changes in employment are completely different from what AI can and will do for us. It is plain economic reasons, slowing down in the economy, weaker consumption, corrections after the COVID pandemic, spike in the hiring. What's even more important, that now we clearly see that for those layoffs where the motivation was actually AI and not just a cover story, we see that many cases, the plans to gain efficiency through adaptation of large language models and AI have not been actually came true. They were partly or not at all managed to come into implementation. What we also see today that same people who were planning on getting higher efficiency and making decisions about these employment changes are now reviewing their decisions in the past and willing to rehire those people who have been sacked not so long ago. This is a short-term correction. What's for sure that large language models, AI as we call them today, is very, very capable. They are engines that can do a lot when it comes to professional jobs, working with text, images, any kind of media. We have to think about what we have to do to turn this opportunity into beneficial for us. And this is what we are going to talk about now. So why it matters for our industry to focus on our industry now? Because simply we see it works. So since Google Translate changed from the statistical engines to neural networks in 2017, we see that it is compelling what neural networks can do when it comes to language and translation especially. Certainly there are limitations, but it has been gradually improving, and throughout all these years, we understood or started to understand how great they can be, and we also understood where it cannot work. What's really new since 2023, since a new versions of these models arrived to us, large language models, that they are much more capable and they are working for everyone. So the hype around large language models made it a common sense that they are very capable when it comes to different transformations of text and also other applications. So let's see who is everyone, who understands that this is something important. So when we are at the table discussing translations, we can be sure that AI and the capabilities of AI will be on the table. We will talk about it for sure. Corporations have a background with working with neural networks. So McKinsey indicated that 9 out of 10 corporations have actually using AI neural networks in their operations. They are also very keen to adopt large language models for sure. When negotiations happen around localization, it is not just corporations who understand what neural networks can do for you, but it is also us. So machine translation has been us with the industry. We are adopting it to more or less extent. And over here, the picture is something like a half empty, half full glass. So what we see, and this is what Nimdzi shared last summer from their latest data, that barely half of the translation projects conducted by LSPs were done by with the assistance of machine translation. Over here, we are using machine translation with post-editing as for the simplification, not taking into account raw machine translation. Half or 45% is a good number, but it also tells us that yeah, more than half of our projects probably have some potential gains in terms of efficiency if MT could have been used or should be used. If we take a look at the individual LSPs, so organizations one by one, we see that in 2024, still 15% of these organizations have not worked with a machine translation or barely worked with machine translation. 0 to 10% of their projects were run with MT. It's a good question why these numbers are not much higher. Certainly, there is a good trend. So our industry is also getting the adaptation right or better than we did in the past. But certainly, there are limitations why we are not getting into much higher adaptation rates. There can be constraints from our clients or our organizations. And there can be also human motivations or lack of motivations, reluctance to change. Luckily, the AI hype could be really helpful for us. So we as individuals working in an organization, in the translation department, or as an LSP or as a freelancer, are also exposed to the hype around AI and large language models. 1 billion individuals like us work with large language models in their private life, using their applications in their day-to-day. So most probably it is easier now to convince any of us, even ourselves, to start using it in our professional life. So let's see how this could work. And over here, I'm taking again, going back again to 2017, the technology that has been introduced at that time with the introduction of machine translation. Neural networks are standing on two pillars. These two pillars are data and machine learning. Back in the day, these neural networks were single job focused. Their training was to do one job. In this case, machine translation. Machine translation from A language to B. In case you wanted another language, you had to train a different engine with a different data set and run a different, a new training session. If you wanted to have a new task assigned to neural networks, then you had to build a new engine, train it again with a different training program and a different data set. And we were still only using the generic data. So in case you wanted to make sure that the translation or the quality estimation this engine provides is a fit for your customer or for your organization, then you had to do the domain adaptation through another training session. And then you had a custom domain adapted engine that is great for the given project, given client, or given organization. There is a completely new approach what large language models bring to us. The foundations are still the same. So they are standing on the same pillars, although we have to say that these pillars have been enhanced a lot. So by the magnitude of thousands and millions or even billions in terms of the data. So we are not talking about megabytes or gigabytes of data, but terabytes and petabytes of data. And similarly, the resources, the energy we are putting behind is enormously high, and the computational power is higher with the same magnitudes. Thanks to all these efforts and the technology innovation behind it, these neural networks are not anymore single job oriented. They are capable of basically anything what you can imagine with a text. This is what we call as emergent abilities. This was kind of also shocking for the researchers where they first tried these new transformer-based neural networks, that, wow, this text-based algorithm, this text-based engine can actually do maths, or can think about scientific questions. It can just simply translate, although no one has ever trained it to do so. And these capabilities can also apply for other modalities, so for visuals, for voice, for video, for images. And another interesting capability they have is what we call in-context learning. And that is super important for the localization industry, because in-context learning could take care of domain adaptation for our localization tasks. So if you just simply drop context, drop some data, drop the appropriate terminology to the prompt for the large language models, it uses it, and it uses it to a very good extent. This is what we call retrieval augmented generation. And in this way, we can instantly do a domain adaptation-based translation or any other job with a large language model. Now, this was kind of really theoretical. So let's see some practical use cases, what AI can do for us. Over here, I'm relying on what Slater compiled together in last September. They collected 15 various applications, use cases, and ranked them according to the value they can add to localization and the impact they might have on our industry. Although they kind of left what the impact is actually meaning. Is it internal or external or structural or other? There is no surprise in the high value tiers. So over here, they identified translation as a key use case, a key application for you working with AI. Translation over here can really vary. So working simply with large language models, doing domain adaptation, even further enhancement for the target audiences. Then there is quality-centric tasks such as quality estimation and then automated post-editing. Workflows could be also very important. What's important over here and across all these use cases, that there are mature and less mature solutions out there. So right now, I cannot cover all the use cases in detail here, but I recommend for everyone to dig into the possible use cases, what Slater covered over here, or even look for yourself for other applications. What's important that basically almost every aspect of what we are doing, let it be working with terminology or working with TMs, cleaning them, or simply just transforming the source text to help it to be accurate and not a burden during the translation process. Large language models can be helpful for you. So now let's see what impact all these solutions can have on our business and maybe our personal life. What's for sure that AI, all those use cases that I displayed earlier, can be implemented in most of the workflows we are working today. They can bring completely new workflow steps, augment the current workflow steps. So AI can help you with the jobs that you are doing today. Or simply, you can just let the AI do it instead of you. The entire workflows can change. So with the new technology and the new solutions around, we can go for different workflows. New workflows can be enabled, and it can create new opportunities to work with new type of content or deliver it in a different way that opens up new business opportunities. And also, the role of the orchestration can change. So far, it was a highly educated, very experienced project manager working together with an engineer, have managed to put together a complex workflow. We can also reach out for the AI to help now designing these workflows. It can help us, for example, to find the right linguistic data, the repository, let it be a TM or a TB, that should be the most appropriate, for example, for the project that we are planning to start with. Now it seems that this is too omnipotent. AI can do everything. It's very important that many of these applications have different maturity. So yes, you can do translation. We know it because our industry technology vendors are working with the translation use case using the same neural network approach for almost 10 years. Certainly, other solutions, other use cases are far less advanced, and it will take time till they come. So AI is not omnipotent, that's for sure. We have to take a look at where are its limitations. So what could be interesting is that there could be completely external constraints. So it can be a client or an industry or the legal federal environment that simply says that, okay, there is a no to AI for a given project, for a given organization. Another important inherent problem with neural networks, and this is also something what we know for a long time, that they are not deterministic. So if you have a great translation that is in context match or 100% match in your TM, then you should use that. You shouldn't trust the AI to start fabricating it even with the context data, because it might come up with a different solution. And from that on, you made a mistake, and could be a very important mistake you make. You should be also careful when you work with large language models. You are bringing in a new technology stack, a new vendor into the picture, into the workflow. You have to carefully select it, because from that on, it will be your companion for highly sensitive, very valuable content and data that your workflow handles. There are also other inherent problems with large language models. They can be biased. No one really knows and could actually filter out biases from the vast data sets they work with. They can leak the data, the sensitive data or information as they work, what their databases or the data they trained with contains. And most importantly, for the localization, we know that languages are not born to be equal. There are languages that are widely known, widely used. They are ideal for large language models, neural networks. But low resource languages is a problem because we know it very well. One of the key pillars of large language models and neural networks is data. If a given language just doesn't have sufficient digital data, then you cannot help it. You will have to rely on other approaches. Now, what shall we do? We see a great potential with this technology. We also understand that it has limitations. So we cannot for sure rely on it, that it will solve all the localization problems. So actually, what we have to go back, and that is a grounding principle for our industry, is to find the right approach for the given purpose. So the right translation that fits the purpose it has to fulfill. We are doing it for some time, and this is the challenge that we have to do even today. We have to find the right mix of technology and people to deliver different quality translations. It is also very important that now it is a risk and legal consequences that we have to consider. That large language models are not deterministic. You cannot rely on, if it has done it great yesterday, it will do it tomorrow also great. The liability comes with the human. So the human can guarantee that something is actually really good or not, or it fits a certain quality standards. What's also very important, that people, the job of the linguist is key to create the data that is the pillar of providing great output with large language models. Large language models are using data, and that is the pillar of what they can do. And if we are doing great with combining technology and human intelligence, then we will be able to leverage our technology even better and move higher on applying it in our jobs and assignments and projects. And in this way, we can always get better efficiency. Meanwhile, we are still highly integrated with the linguists that we work with and who is actually key still in this new technology era. That was it about the overview, and now I'm handing the mic over to Benoit, who will guide us with a more practical approach on the topic.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Does everyone hear me correctly?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I have my own deck, so a very little theory first, and then we'll dive into the applied use case. So let me share my screen.
Great.
Okay, you're seeing my slide and not my notes?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So just introducing myself very quickly. So Benoit Gariépy, I'm a technical solution specialist at MemoQ. And today I'll be showing a very specific use case of what Adam was talking about, so with our own AGT product. So what is AGT? So it stands for Data Generative Translation, but what it is AGT is Retrieval Augmented Generation, RAG, as Adam has explained, for machine translation. And what does that mean exactly? Well, it means that the large language model that is behind it, it won't be just, maybe it's a strong guessing the translation based on its own data only. Instead, AGT will kind of give a cheat sheet for every single sentence in the document you're translating. It will looks up your specific company terminology and past translation of similar sentence in real time. And so AGT will kind of be your kind of expert prompter that will help the the LLM to provide a translation that is compliant to your brand. So it's a two-step process. So in the first step, AGT will send to the LLM the source text with the relevant contextual information. And what do I mean by contextual information here? It's mean the fuzzy match from the project translation memory or from documents that you have aligned in MemoQ. Also, it will be the terminology match is relevant to each sentence you are translating. Okay. Then in a second step, the large language model will produce a translation and send them back to MemoQ. Okay. What are the benefits of this approach? Well, the first benefit will be instant domain adaptation. And by domain adaptation, I know Adam has talked about it a little bit. It means that the generated translation consider your translation memory, your document aligned in MemoQ, and your term base. So more specifically, it means that if the sentence to translate contains your terminology, it is more likely that the large language model will use that terminology. I'm saying more likely for a reason because they're not deterministic, so they're probabilistic. So what it means is the translated content is more likely to follow the style that you register from your past translation. Also, AGT, it means that AGT will only use the relevant linguistic data your TMS has. This is important. It doesn't use all your linguistic data, only the relevant one. And what do I mean also? It's the latest one. Okay. So the second benefit is kind of the consequence of that. It's better quality. AGT generated content with domain adaptation generally yields better result than a traditional machine translation. Also, and I've talked about it a few seconds ago, it picks up only relevant linguistic data. So in a sense, AGT can help prevent a kind of an information overload for the AI model. So just like a person can get overwhelmed by too many instructions at once, there is a risk that if you give too much instruction, too much context to LLM, it might actually backfire and decreasing the quality provided. The third benefit will be data control. So with AGT, you don't need to train any model. Your data are not stored. You just use your relevant linguistic asset temporarily to improve the output of the generic LLM. And finally, it's not disruptive. So what do I mean by that? It feeds automatically in your linguistic data into your translation memory system in MemoQ. You don't have to, there's less need to data curation or things like that. So it's really in a few clicks, you're good to go. Okay. So let me stop the sharing and I'll share to a live demo right now. Okay. This one. You're seeing my window correctly? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so here I'm in MemoQ Web. I got a very short document, 3 sentence. Right now, so I'm going to use AGT to translate it, but first I want to make sure that actually AGT can be used without any translation memory, but I mean, that's not the best course of using AGT, but just to show the difference when you add contextual information, the kind of difference in output. So Right now in my project, I don't have any translation memory nor term base attached, and I'm gonna translate this document. There's a slight delay. Gonna open it. So I understand maybe a lot of you don't understand French, but I just want to point out a few things in that translation that will change. I guess I'm lucky when I start using my term bases and my translation memory. So for example, the acronym for RAG has been kept the same in English. It could be acceptable in French, but let's say you prefer a French acronym. It's not with the generic output, it's not there. For example, as well, there's a client specific. Here it's been translated kind of literally with specific au client. Also, let's say, for example, gold standard here has been translated very literally with normal, which makes no sense in French in that instance. Also, prompt, which has been translated as, let's say, command prompt in Windows, but in French, we don't use the same translation for prompt for LLM. Okay. And there's also several other differences. So let me attach some translation memory to this. So I'm going to add those. Let me move that to add and a term base. I'm gonna first forgot to just erase my translation. Give me a second. Okay. So now everything fine. So I'm gonna regenerate a new translation with AGT. I'm not going too much into the settings, but just want to show you highlight very quickly. So you could have a setting, let's say, above which you don't want to use the LLM and just correct some fuzzy match instead, because it might be more reliable. Also, the minimum match rate of the resources you'll be sending over to the LLM, and including also a way to increase the likelihood that your terminology will be used. Okay, so let me translate it again. Okay, and open it. Okay, so I won't go into every change that have been made, but for example, in the previous translation, there was sector de l'allocation, and actually in my previous fuzzy matches over here, I use industry, actually interesting in French instead of sector. And it was in my fuzzy match, and this was retrieved by the LLM, was considered to produce a new translation. Also, the acronym here is in French. Why? Because I had terminology attached in that sentence in my term base that is attached to the project, and it increased the likelihood. So it was used, my terminology was used. Another example, for example, here, I got terminology de référence instead. So it used my terminology here in that sentence for 3 terms. So instead of norma d'or for gold standard, it used de référence, it used requête for prompt instead of invite, which in that context makes no sense. Invite, well, that wasn't making any sense. And instead of UTSTAO, it changed for UTSTAO. There are also, like I said, those that are terminology part and the fuzzy match part. So in the fuzzy match as well, just a last one, for example, in the previous translation for term base, it was base de terme, which is not always very common in French. So it reused my base terminologique here from my fuzzy matches, and it was inserted in my suggestion. So there's a significant change using AGT and RAG-based translation in general. This is an example of MemoQ directly, but that's the benefit of using the right contextual information instead of using the straight LLM. So that would be the very quick demo of how AGT works in MemoKit. Stop sharing. So I guess that's the question part, Peter and Angela. Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, both Adam and Benoit. I think I did see some questions. Angela, can you let us know if you have? So I can read some of them. So one question first, right off the bat, is: are there any limits on pages, boards that can be I guess used for to use the AGT? So if there is 100 and if there's 140 pages document, would we need it? Can this be done in one section, or do they need to be done in smaller portions?
No, it can be done in the same. You could translate a whole project with 10 documents at the same time. Actually, I showed it manually, but it could be automated at document import. But I use it manually to show the difference. But you don't have to do it manually.
Okay. Another question is: formatting seems to be problematic. Is there a setting to improve that?
Good question. Well, what exactly formatting? Okay, I guess there was I guess it was about the bold, actually.
I guess this question came from Laura. So if Laura, if you can maybe add a little more context on the chat, so we can answer that more accurately.
Sure, or I can speak.
Oh, perfect. Go for it.
The bolding was either put on the wrong string or left off completely on the second pass. And for us, that would pose serious issues. And human would have to fix it, and it's harder to remove bad formatting and put it in than to just add formatting.
Well, it's a bug, so it shouldn't be like that.
But it's not systematic.
We have to check the tricky sample documents that Benoit is using in this demo. It should be so tag handling. No matter what kind of tag formatting tags, inline text, or even your regex tags, is handled with AGT. So we are making sure that we keep all tags and put it back in the right position. So it could be a bug that we haven't seen right now.
Yeah, it depends, but as well, I know you won't believe me, but when I did it yesterday, the missing formatting you see was at the right place yesterday. So there's, like I said, it's not deterministic. So
actually, no. So then I actually know the reasons. So there was a model change last 24 hours. So we moved from 4-row mini to 4-1 mini.
Adam, we're losing you on your microphone.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, there was a model change, and the models are behaving differently, and so we have to adjust now the tag handling algorithm to make it also working flawlessly with the 4-1 mini model too. So yeah, we spotted the bug. It was also worse for the developers this session, although they have enjoyed us, I guess.
So Luis Costa has a question. It's more referring to the first half of the webinar. If data is created by people is the pillar of LLMs, but more and more data is created by AI and less by people, will it affect the AI results in the medium and long term?
Absolutely. So this is a problem that smart people working with the LLMs, thinking about them, are already envisioning that, yes, the we kind of have a chicken and egg problem here. So in the long run, we won't have either. So the current approach, if we are keep on bubbling the content and then letting the same neural networks process it, then we could see a kind of a model collapse situation where it doesn't make more any sense what they are producing. So the key for the quality of what LLMs produce today is a high quality curated data that the models have absorbed. If they eat low quality nonsense data, then the connections that the algorithms are getting will be completely false. So yeah, you are absolutely right. This is a problem. This is an inherent problem of neural networks. They are not intelligent. They are using the intelligent information that humans produced in the last couple of millennia, and that's what they are reproducing.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Couple of more questions. One is there a difference between AGT and RAG, or is it the same thing? And following after that is, how does DeepL fit into sources that AGT creates and that it translates from?
Well, the first one, I guess I could answer, and correct me if I'm wrong, Adam. So, well, AGT is based on RAG, but it's one specific use of RAG. I mean, you could use RAG in other way, but that's a specific use of RAG. And regarding the DeepL question, regarding the DeepL question, I'm not sure I understand it correctly.
Okay, let me read it again. So I guess the sources that AGT uses, or I guess MemoQ uses for its AI translation. How does AGT fit into with something like DeepL? Is there an order there? Are they even related to each other, or how do they fit in?
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're not related to each other. Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah. So AGT is just another machine translation. In that sense, it can be comparable to DeepL, although AGT you cannot work with outside MemoQ. The key difference is that AGT, as part of the MemoQ ecosystem, it is linked with the resources that you have in your TMS, and it specifically works with the resources that your project has. So whatever you are changing in your project, no matter if it has been updated like an hour ago or 20 seconds ago or last week, those TM and TB and LiveDocs data will be available for the large language model behind AGT, and it will immediately leverage on it. Meanwhile, DeepL is outside this ecosystem. It is integrated, but not at the same level. So with DeepL, you can also do augmentation. You can do RAG. You can do RAG with DeepL, but over there you have to upload your resources to the DeepL back office or the admin account, and from that on, whenever you do the translation from MemoQ using DeepL, then the translation that DeepL does will use what you have already uploaded to DeepL. So it is you have to basically constantly upload content and data over there.
Okay, and we have a follow-up to it. Perfect, thank you, Adam. Okay. And we have a follow-up to that. So is there a way to help train AGT to produce better initial results by feeding it text that has been post-edited by humans, or will it only learn from the TMs or the term bases that are used?
Yes, I would say the best way that, provided, let's say you didn't do the translation in MemoQ in the first place and it's not in the TM, you could use what we call the live docs feature in MemoQ, which allow you to align previous translation that were not in MemoQ. So let's say you have a post-edited content, let's say in that case from English to French, you could align it, put it into the live docs, and use the live docs, the aligned document as context for AGT.
Okay, so again, one more question. So is it more useful to apply first live docs and then the TM? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's different. It's really if you want to reuse some context from things outside MemoQ. But you were using live docs before TM. I'm not sure I can provide an accurate answer to this one.
So MemoQ AGT works with live docs and TMs equally. So it treats them equally.
Okay.
No matter where the hit comes from, whether it's TM or live docs, it enters into the RAG forwarded to the AGT based on the match rate. So live docs matches also have a match rate in that sense. So they are ranked, and you can configure the rate threshold, and above that, AGT picks up anything, no matter if it's a TM or a live docs match.
So we have another couple questions we can combine. One, someone's asking if AGT is the name of the MemoQ embedded AI tool. I assume that is correct. And then there's another person asked, what AI tool were you using for the demo? So that was AGT, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. I wouldn't say embedded, actually, because, I mean, it's an opt-in. I mean, you don't have to use AGT. You're not forced to use it. But if you want to use it, it's really could have workflow without AGT and workflow with AGT.
So Louis Costa asked another good question, and I'm curious for myself as well. Do you have any plans to use AGT for MTQE machine translation quality estimation as an alternative to TOS or ModelFront?
Currently, we don't have it on the roadmap. We see, but what we actually do see is that large language models are getting more and more capable of conducting quality estimation, just like Slater identified it. So this is an opportunity. We don't have plans for that at this moment.
I find that a struggle for in ourselves, like some of the reporting, it would be advantageous to have that built in somehow. So not all of us have big tech departments that can help us with that. So some of us are smaller, so it's difficult.
Well, what you can do is you can run the quality estimation by TOS in MemoQ. So currently MemoQ can do quality estimation with the TOS service, but it's another supplier. So yeah, you are right. It's another vendor that you have to sign up to at this moment.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
All right, perfect. Thank you. We're almost at 11:59. I don't know I think we answered most of the questions that were given to us. I want to thank you both, Benoit and Adam, for your time and for sharing this, I guess, exciting new tool that's coming our way and is here, and hopefully you guys are going to develop it more. And please don't forget, for our audience, check out CLIA's event at WorldSpeak that's coming up at the end of May in Ottawa. I think in the chat, the document, the website is there. Again, thank you very much for MemoQ for being a partner to us and for providing today's webinar. Hope you all have a great day. And if you want a recording of the session, I believe it's in the chat. And you can always reach out to us by email, and we'll be happy to correspond with you and get the answer.
The recording will be sent out or made available after. It's not in the chat.
She already put a link, no?
No,
Yeah.
that's for WorldSpeak.
Below that.
Oh.
Yeah,
No, it's going to be
it's
emailed
just
to
a
all
note.
registrants.
Yeah, it's just a note that it'll be emailed to everybody
Okay,
afterwards,
perfect.
and making sure if you didn't register for this and came in just on the Zoom link, make sure you register to the event to receive that recording. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Angela. All right, everybody, have an awesome day. Be well,
Thank you.
and we'll see
Thanks
you
a
guys
lot.
for our next webinar. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Benoit, I'm going to call you about the talk.